Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of the Elvis Diner. Just going to wait for some folks to come in. Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. For those of you in the U.S., hopefully, you're having a good President's Day holiday. Um, just going to wait for some folks to come in, and then we will get started. All right, we got some folks coming in, and then we'll go ahead and explain what we're getting ready to do, and then we'll get going.
Let's just give a little quick description and explanation of where the idea came from for the diner. Excuse me. We came up with this idea because Michael and I, when we're out on the road, we talk and we just bounce ideas back and forth. And we were just talking about, wouldn't it be cool if there was a place where like you could go and just hang out with fellow Elvis fans and new fans and old fans and fans in the middle, and just discuss Elvis. And it'd be tough to have a place like that, where people from all across the country could go to, obviously. So we thought we would try it online and see. We called it the Diner in hopes that people would feel welcome and people would feel like they can come here non-judgmental zone. There's no, as far as we go, there's no know-it-alls here. We don't, we can learn some things, and we'll share with you what we've learned and what we know. I've been an Elvis fan since I was in the womb. So, and I believe Michael too. So we do have some good knowledge, but we don't have all of it. So that's the idea behind the diner. Just feel welcome to come in here, grab a cup of coffee, whatever your favorite drink is, and come in. And we're going to do this probably about once a month. So there'll be a vast range of topics that we go over. And please send in as we go along. If you guys become regulars here at the diner, feel free to send in your ideas and say, hey, could we do this? It won't be one topic for the entire hour. We will do different things. And the other thing is we'll have some different features, such as maybe some band members, maybe some some authors and things like that. So,
All right, so we got a couple comments that I'll just acknowledge before we get here. Hey, everyone that's saying good morning and all that stuff. Good to see you guys. We recognize a lot of names. Love the Elvis poster in the back. Thank you. We thought that's what we take on our trips to these coliseums and everything. We get pictures, so we thought it'd be a cool background. And before we get too deep into this, can everyone hear both of us okay? Can you hear me and hear him fine? Just want to make sure that we can hear everyone before we get started. First time doing this, so I just want to make sure we have everything right and set up before we get started.
I see we have two authors on here, Sally and Paul Sweeney. That's cool. We've got both of their books. Destined to Die Young. We've got that book right over there on the shelf, and we got Paul's book as well. Both phenomenal books.
All right, so I guess we'll just kind of explain what we're getting ready to do here. So the after Charlotte, when we came back from our Charlotte trip and posted our video, we started watching Elvis on tour, and we noticed a lot of small things like stuff in the background and other, I don't even know what the word is, but we were like, that's where that was, and that's where that was, and hey, did you notice that in the background and all that? And we were kind of talking like, when you watch it, Elvis on tour, or any movie for that matter, for the first few times, you're just looking at the whole picture. But the more that you watch it, you're picking up on little things in the background, like, hey, do you see that? And all that kind of stuff. So we were like, that'd be a good idea for our first episode would be to, pick out, some things that people might not know, like where certain scenes happen in what cities, and, things in the background that you might not have known. So we figured, we'll make a little presentation, we'll talk with you guys, and, if there's something that you might not know, now you did. It'll be about, I think, 20 points that we're going to kind of discuss. And then after that, we'll kind of do a little question between him and I. And then we'll kind of go off any questions that you might have.
Hey, before you get started, let me just throw in a little something for all of us older fans. Just a little bit of background on this, because for the younger fans, which I love seeing all the youth that's coming out in support of Elvis these days. But just a little background, and not to not to be too long-winded on this, but just to give you an idea. Back in the day, and there's several people on here that I see, Paul Sweeney, to name one. We've been around a little while, and what you have to understand is back in those days, when we were following Elvis when we were younger, if you saw Elvis on tour in November of '72, and then you didn't see Elvis in concert, then you had no idea how he had changed, what he looked like, or whatever. So if it was 3 or 4 years that went by, there was going to be a difference there. And with the movie, the thing that is so cool about the movie is it was released in November '72, and then you didn't have access to it. If you think about this, in those days, you didn't have access to it until it came out years and years later on beta, I think, and then VHS and all that stuff. And then now, of course, on Blu-ray. But, now we can sit here and go frame by frame by frame. And that's basically what we started doing. Is we started, I've seen that movie thousands of times through my life. And it wasn't started doing a lot of these buildings. We started going in there and really looking and going frame by frame. And Michael started noticing some really peculiar things that I'd never noticed before. But Michael did an awesome job. I want to tip my hat to him. He did an awesome job for going in there and basically dissecting this movie. And we're getting ready to show you some cool things. Some of you, like he said, you may know, some of you may not. So let's just have fun with it, and let's see where we go.
All right, so a couple points before we get started. This live will be posted on our page after we end it. So if you guys want to watch it again in its entirety, it'll be there. And secondly, a lot of this stuff people can figure out for themselves. But I just want to point out that, if there's a factor, something that you might not have known that you feel like sharing, feel free to do that. But we just ask, if you wouldn't mind just like tagging us, or, just giving us a little credit for finding us, because some of this stuff took a lot of research going in and trying to find like historical pictures of a building to see if that's where a certain city happened. So that's all we ask. And I'll just put that up there. So this is kind of a PowerPoint that we're just using as a visual, and then we'll have like little video clips in here so you guys know what we're talking about. All right. Let me just make sure everything's popping up okay. All right. So detailing Elvis on tour, first episode. And so our first point is we're going to kind of go in order of the movie. Some of this might be out of order, but we're kind of just going to go with the flow of the movie. We'll go from there. So what to expect, we're going to figure out where certain scenes happened. We're going to point out, some hidden things in the background, and we're going to share some fun facts with you. All right. So in the beginning of the movie, some of you might already know this, but for years and years and years, there was a debate on where did this scene happen. And we've been to this Coliseum, and we've been to all the Coliseums where the debate, whether it was in this city or the other, and we were able to figure out what it was. And if you haven't seen our video, we visited Little Rock, and we were able to go into the room. It had changed since he was there, but that is where this scene happened. And so if you guys have not checked out our video on Elvis in Little Rock, be sure to do that. This is the thumbnail. Just type in Elvis in Little Rock in YouTube, and this will pop up, and you guys can go ahead and watch that. All right.
All right. I get a turn on this one. So this one is special to us because when we were getting ready to, we were doing our research before we documented Greensboro Coliseum, and we kept watching the film of Elvis Backstage on here on your right, that's the right hand frame right there. And we kept noticing that when Joe Esposito was giving him directions on which way to turn when he got to the top of the stairs, I told Michael, I said, something's wrong, because if he turns the way Joe Esposito is saying to turn, then he's going to go out the side door and wind up in a parking lot. So Michael spent a lot of time going over this and going over this and going over this. And I said, I've watched this 50 times and I can't understand what's going on. And he noted that the images flipped. And so, we noticed that in the name tags on the guys in the background, we noticed it. So then when we flipped it, it made Greensboro make so much more sense. You'll even notice there that Elvis's hair's parted the wrong way. And then now you're seeing what it looks like, what it should have looked like. And so when Elvis goes to the top of the stairs, he turns left, and that's where the stage was.
All right. And so this would have been going up on stage. You got San Antonio on the left, Little Rock in the middle, and Greensboro on the right. And I kind of understand why they did that, because if you were to have had Greensboro the way that it was, it would have, you would have had Elvis at the beginning. If you see it here, he's looking to the right in two of the shots. And I think it just made more sense to have him looking in on both ends. So that's probably why they did that. And so this was, there we go. Yeah, you go ahead.
And let us tell you, like you guys didn't already know this, they edited, I think everybody knows that they edited this movie to death, but you have no idea. Once you go in like Michael did and start taking it frame by frame, there are literally shots of we're going to show you a shot later of a popcorn maker in a drink machine,
Dispenser.
a drink dispenser. It was a shot that was taken in Detroit. And I'm like, they couldn't have filmed that anywhere else, but they took in the film cameras and filmed a shot of a popcorn machine in Detroit. So that just goes to show you the degree that they edited this movie.
So if you guys haven't checked out our Greensboro video, that is the thumbnail. Just type in Elvis in Greensboro. Because there's so much footage and videos out there of him in Greensboro, probably just type in Elvis Back on Tour, just so it can filter our video.
And just one thing on this picture that he put in there, you all recall a scene in some of the footage where you see Elvis has got his glasses upside down and the police are standing outside the door. That was filmed in that corner door over there. That door straight away was not there. And that was a brick wall. You'll see to the image on the left there, you'll see the brick wall that was behind Elvis. That's what was back there then.
All right. So the first two were kind of just, some stuff that you guys might have known, but now we're going to get into, hey, did you notice this? So on and so forth. All right. So in this clip of Elvis in Hampton, the lady right back in here between Estelle Brown and JD Sumner on the back of the stage, she had an important job for the filming of the documentary. And so her name was Sylvia Mulcinery, might be pronouncing that wrong, but she was the assistant to the producer, and her task was taking notes and timestamps. So you can see her, this is her in Richmond for Elvis's, I think that was his evening show. Might be wrong on that, but she was taking notes and writing timestamps of this at this point, this is what's happening, so on and so forth. And a lot of the stuff that we found in here, you can find in the Elvis on Tour anniversary book set. So be sure to look at that. I don't know if you guys can see it in the small screen. I'll make it a little bigger so you guys can see. But that's where the picture that you see on the screen was from. And so we just want to make sure that nobody takes that without the permission. So that's who that was. So next time that you watch Elvis coming on stage in Hampton for CC Rider, you can notice her back there taking notes for Hampton. All right, and then what's missing in this clip? So I actually found this one quite a while ago, and I might have, I think I shared it on our Instagram, but if you look closely, on Elvis's belt, that would have been it was called the original belt for the nail suits. And if you look closely, you have 3 studs going diagonally in each corner of the belt. But on this top left diagonal line, the middle button is missing. And so I went on and I was like, hey, maybe there was another city that he wore the belt and what was the condition during that. So if you go on elvisconcerts.com, you can't filter out belts. So I found that he wore the belt at least 3 other times. He may have worn it more than that. I was not able to, filter the belts out. But he wore the belt in Louisville of November 71, Dayton and Albuquerque for those two, for that tour and those 2 shows. And so if I zoom in, it's kind of hard to see on the Louisville picture, but the 3 studs are there. They were all there on the belt buckle, no problems there. But if you go to Dayton and Albuquerque, it's missing as well. So Hampton's show is in between Dayton and Albuquerque. So that probably means that the stud on the belt buckle went missing during or around the Dayton show. They just never fixed it for the rest of the tour. So next time you watch the beginning of Polk Salad Annie, watch for that belt and you'll see that the stud is missing.
Okay, so now it's we're going to go to Dayton. This scene of this hotel was the Hilton in Dayton when Michael and I went and we did our documentation for Elvis's time in Dayton, and we also have that video up. If you'll go to our YouTube channel, you'll see that as well. We went to this hotel, and based on the tour sheets, obviously found the address and went there. And some things, as you can see, have changed. The overhang, the facade, a little bit's changed. We actually went up onto the floor that Elvis stayed in. And actually, if you go and look at the Dayton video, you'll see a scene of a firehouse off to the right. We actually went out on the roof of the hotel and got the same angle that the film crew in Elvis on Tour got. So you'll be able to see that if you take a look at our Dayton video.
So I'm able to see your all's comments. So if there's something that we've shared that you didn't know before, let us know. So we can see what you guys did or did not know before we've shown you this. All right. All right. So in this scene where Elvis is walking down the hallway, this is you.
This is Macon, Georgia. This is the Hilton in Macon, and when we were there to do the actual documentation of the of the arena, we went to the Hilton where this was filmed, and it was basically abandoned at the time, and they were trying to get some new ownership in there and get it up and running again. And I don't know what the status is of that right now.
No, they were like working. It was like half closed down, half being renovated, kind of. But you can see the floor to ceiling windows on the outside. You can see that there.
Maybe if Ed's on here, he can pitch in and tell us if Ed, if you know anything about that, if you could let us know. It was a beautiful hotel in its day. It still is. It just needs to be updated.
I didn't put the thumbnail in here, but check out our Elvis in Macon video where we go there. You'll see pictures and you'll see the floor to ceiling windows in that. All right. So after he walks out down the hallway, it cuts to him getting in his car and they drive off. So many people know that because of the suit that this was Jacksonville. There was a lot of scenes outside of the Coliseum in the sense of, driving the car, driving him, getting in the car and getting out of the car and all that. So we know that this is Macon, but if you notice in the background, the columns in the parking garage, well, if you go here, hopefully this will just give it a minute to load here.
Real quick, while that's loading, I just want to add this thing. Anybody that's watched this movie any number of times will see, like, we can't stress enough how much editing went into this. And you'll see Elvis in a hotel. He walks out the door. He's in one suit, then he walks out the door, and he's in another suit. Then he arrives at the arena. He's backstage in one suit. Then he goes on stage. He's in another suit. And we've looked at a lot of the documentation over the years for this movie, and a lot of that had to do with, I mean, for obvious reasons, what they were trying to do is give you a full view of all of the uh, outfits that Elvis had at his disposal to wear. So they just didn't want to show you one jumpsuit and, say, there it is at one show. So they wanted to show you various shows and various suits.
All right, so this is the hotel now that Elvis stayed at in Jacksonville. And as you can see, those same columns are under the parking garage. Now, unfortunately, we don't know like what turns they made and how they got out of the garage. Today, there is a ramp that goes from the top level to the bottom level, as you can see here. We don't know if the ramp was added on after his performance and if there was access right onto the highway that goes across the bridge, or if they had to go all the way around and get on the highway. We don't know how those roads have changed, but we know that those are the columns that you see in the film, and they're still there today as of whenever this Google Earth photo was taken.
Okay, that's me. So, so on this one, you'll see a scene in the movie where the people are going through the turnstiles there, and in the background, you can see part of the building. And if anybody wants to take a shot at what they think that is, and then we'll just tell you, is that's Macon. And again, if Ed's on here, he can chip in on this. And you'll notice the when we were there, that area that was behind the stage, that all those glass windows that you see there, they were not there in Elvis's day. We were told that those were added. When we did our Macon video, one of the things that we use as our lineup, I know you guys like when we do our lineup photographs, when we're documenting the buildings, you'll see those holes, those circles up there and those panels along the midsection of that picture. That's what we used as our lineups for those photos.
And so before I put this in the presentation, I sent this screenshot to Ed Williams, who we interviewed. It might have been our first interview. I might be wrong, but I think it was our first interview. And he saw Elvis in Macon many times. And I said, does this look familiar? Because I wasn't sure if it was Macon or not. And he said, yes, it is. And he said, I remember the gentleman standing here on the right. He said, I remember him taking tickets. So that kind of concreted our evidence as to where this was. And then if you can kind of see, I know it's hard to see on the screen, but if you can see this large band in the background, that is still here in Macon today. But since Elvis performed there, they have added those boxes, booths since then. So that's a little different. All right. And before we go on to the next one, because this is another, I never noticed that before, go ahead and scroll down, subscribe if you haven't already, and let other folks know that we're live just so they can come in and watch. Like I said, this will be posted on our page in its entirety after we end the live. All right. So in this clip from Love Me Tender.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite.
All right. So you may not have noticed, but on Elvis's shoulder, and there's many shots of this happening, there is dust on his shoulder and on his back. And what that was caused from was him laying on the stage. And there is a scene, there's a clip, and if you go on to the Elvis on Tour soundtrack that's been released, if you go to Richmond, I don't remember what song it is, but he says that that's a funky looking thing up on the ceiling. And when we toured Richmond Coliseum a few years back, I think it was like a AC unit or something. Mm-hmm. It was a massive unit on the ceiling. And so I don't know if that's what he's saying there or just before or after that, but that is what that dust is caused from. There's a few other clips that's like a very quick scene that you might be able to catch some dust. I think there was also a similar instance with Hampton. So if there's a scene where you can see his shoulder, his back, look, and you might see the dust. Right. So in the Mystery Train um, sequence of the movie, there are the statues, and we're like, what are they? Who are they? Where are they? And so we went on there, and the first one was Hunter McGuire, and he was a noted physician. He started several schools and hospitals, which later became part of Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond. And these, all the statues that you saw are in Richmond, and they are on the street that leads up to the governor's mansion, I think. They're on the left, and they've been there since like the 1800s. I think Hunter's statue has been there since like 1902. Still there. As you can see, it's changed color a little bit.
It was cleaned.
Yeah, exactly. So these are all in Richmond. And then Governor William Smith, he's still there. He was the 30th and 35th governor of Virginia. So that's what those statues are. Next time you watch the Mystery Train sequence and those statues, they're in Richmond, Virginia.
Hey, before we kick on to the next one, I don't know, some of you may know this as a reasoning why. Scorsese was the, what they call him, it was the montage editor. He was basically in charge of the montage sequences back in the day when they were making this movie. And something that I learned years ago that I thought was pretty cool is that I always wondered, like as a kid, if you're doing a documentary on Elvis on tour, why in the world, smack dab in the middle of the documentary, that you would put scenes from Elvis's movies? And I'm like, I never got it. And the explanation that I read, which I thought was pretty cool, is that what the directors were going for there is they wanted to basically say, look, this is how far Elvis's career has come. This is what he did, but look at what he's so much more capable of. So they were just trying to show a transition from the movies and the mundane, layout of the movies to now look at this exciting concert that you can come and see. So I think that was a pretty cool move.
All right. So next one is you.
All right. Number 11, Michael threw this one at me, and I was going, when we were looking at it here the other day, I was like, nothing's changed about the house. What he picked up on was the pink Jeep that's still on display at Graceland.
Right out in the front of Graceland. It's cool to see it because, a lot of times you think of this just as like a display piece, but it's cool to see, that
in use.
Yeah, in use. Vernon riding his horse right by it down there in the bottom left. So really cool to see. All right. So this is you.
All right. Number 12, Knoxville. We were there many years ago and had the privilege of standing right where Elvis entered into the arena. You'll see him. That's the scene where some ladies take some pictures and they peel the Polaroid. He was on his way into the Coliseum there at Knoxville, University of Tennessee. So
unfortunately torn down.
Yeah, they tore that down a few years after we were there. So yeah, you won't be able to see that one again.
But a lot of times, any clips where you see those curved arches on the inside, that's Knoxville, because there was not a lot of other buildings that look like that. All right, so this one was, I'm just going to keep it on here so it doesn't go to the next screen after Knoxville. So the next one that I picked up on, I actually figured out last night while I was making my final touches on this presentation. And I was actually really thrilled because I never knew this, but it was cool that I found it last minute. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So many people know that there in Love Me Tender at the end, there was the clip of Elvis kissing a girl, and that was from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he's wearing the white fireworks suit. Now, in this clip, after they bring the house lights down, it cuts to this clip. Now, when I brought it into a photo or like a video editor, I slowed it way down and I was able to find that it was the white fireworks. And I was like, okay, well, what cities did he wear that in? And it was Albuquerque, Dayton, Charlotte. And so I was like, what? Because we've been to all three of them. I said, what, does the backside where he would have gone up look like? And so I went to all three of those cities, and I was like, it's not Dayton because the way that the floor plan is set up, I was like, it can't be that. And I was like, it either is Charlotte or Albuquerque. And I found out that if you notice here, right as he's going up on stage, there's a post here, back of the orchestra. That clip of him going up on stage was from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So aside from Love Me Tender in the clip where he's kissing that girl, they also used another clip of Albuquerque. So a lot of people think that there wasn't a lot of footage used, but there wasn't, but this wasn't.
Go back one more time so you can see so there's the railings you see off to the left, and then there's the post, and then you go here, there's the post, there's the railings. That was a really cool building. He was only there one time, Albuquerque, April 72. That was one of our favorite buildings. Beautiful building, very historical. It's got the obstructed views inside where you could actually sit. If you see the pole there in the middle, you could actually sit behind a pole, and kind of like some of the old baseball parks that are out there today, Fenway and Wrigley, I guess, right?
So now when you watch that scene after they bring the house lights down, that's Albuquerque, and then it cuts to him in Hampton. But that scene of him going upstage, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Not that any of this stuff that we're telling you is going to change your life in any way, but it's just some fun stuff that, just some fun stuff that we like doing. And when Michael started, this was really been Michael's idea. He started putting this stuff together, and I said, we need to really show this to the fans and see how many other people know this. So.
Yeah, so now when you watch Elvis on tour, especially with April coming up for the anniversary, when you guys watch it, now you can pick up on these things. And there's a lot of other, small things that we could have put in here, but we just figured, we'll put these like big ones in other words on here. So, all right, this one is you.
14. Okay, so talking about the little small things that we could have put in there, I was reading the notes of the lady with the stopwatch, and she talked about the popcorn machine and the drink machine. And believe it or not, they had the cameras rolling at the snack bar in Detroit. So that's Detroit.
And if you guys want to read those notes, they're in the Elvis on Tour anniversary box set. So you guys can go ahead, and if you don't have it already, highly recommend getting it. It is phenomenal. Go ahead and do that, and you can find those notes written there.
Yeah, good luck finding that set. But I'm going to tell you what, if you're a Elvis tour, if you love the touring years, you will absolutely. Some of the best photographs I've ever seen of Elvis on stage were taken in Dayton in April of 1972. They're in that book, and they are unbelievable.
All right, so I have the comment section right here in front of me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, so we'll try to answer those to kind of break it up. We got about 5 more points left, and if there's something that you did not see or know before, let us know. Let us know which one. We'll give it a second to come in, and we'll just take a little bit of a break. If you guys are, you're obviously watching this on YouTube, but if you haven't already, go ahead, scroll down, hit the subscribe button. We would really appreciate it. And also share this with other folks that might not be able to watch it, or you can watch it later. All right. Any questions coming in? And once we're done, if you guys weren't here at the beginning, once we're done with this presentation, we're just going to do like a little question back and forth between him and I, and any questions that you guys have. We'll make it just like one big conversation, one big discussion, and then we will talk about the future of our channel, also with the diner, and we'll go from there. All right, have you figured out? Okay, so somebody said, have you figured out which city is where Dodger is getting out of the car? So many, a bunch of people have brought that up. And I know what scene you're talking about. There's the scene where like all the people are in their cars, they're coming for the show. There's the guy with the light stick thing directing traffic. So it's a elderly lady getting out of the car with the younger lady. That was not Dodger. I can see why people would think that, but it was not. Um, and I feel like if Dodger would have gone to the show, they would have brought her in uh, the back of the building. They wouldn't have made her come through the front. But yeah, I don't. That was not Dodger, but I can see why people thought that.
Definitely not Dodger. That lady in there in that scene was probably about 105, I think.
All right, let me just scroll through some of these comments.
Somebody asked, "What did the hold on?" That was the name of the University of Tennessee Stokely Arena. That's what that was.
I think it was
Gone now.
Yeah, I think it was the like official name was the Stokely Athletic Center.
Yeah,
that's what that was. Let me just go up to these comments and okay.
The cool thing about a lot of these, when Michael was doing these and putting them together, I was kind of watching over his shoulder, and it really meant a lot because, you know, as a kid, I never thought I'd see any of these places, and we've been in 98% of them now. So kind of cool because, you know, a lot of times people say, well, you know, are you really sure? And what can really make us sure is the documentation that we have access to. We have access to some documentation that maybe otherwise wouldn't be available. And then actually going there and, you know, kind of looking around and going, hey, there's that pole that, you know, Charlotte was a great example of that. You know, we go there, there's the electrical panel, and that's the electrical panel that's in the movie. And, you know, it's like, there it is. So we know we're in the right spot.
So somebody said, what is the name of the book and the link? So I don't have the link with me, but if you just type in Elvis on Tour anniversary box set, you can find it. I don't think it's on like a store. You might, at this point, you might have to buy it on eBay. You might be able to find it on some Elvis shop somewhere, but it was kind of the situation where there was a certain number made and what's out there is out there, and that's it.
High quality books, man. I'll tell you that they are, and you better be in your workout program before it comes in the mail because that thing is heavy. It's 3 volumes and it is packed full of information, and it's the books were well made. The binding and everything is really super well made.
You also get, I think, like 12 8x10 photos.
Yeah.
But if you guys didn't see it, if you go into our Instagram and go to like the reels and the lives tab on our page, if you scroll maybe like a year ago, we did an interview Instagram live with the co-author of the box set, Jerry Lukenbach.
Yeah.
And we asked him a bunch of questions, and he told us about the process that it took to put the book together and all that. So if you didn't check that out, it's pretty, you're going to have to scroll a good ways back to find it, but it was a really good interview.
Yeah, go take a look at that interview, and I think he talks in there about how you can get it. If I remember, I'm sure he does because he wanted to sell some copies, and so he'll tell you how to do it.
We all know that they have 40 hours footage. Now, he was actually going through the books a couple days ago and found the pictures of all the wall full of all the cases with the footage, and you actually found a city that.
Yeah, let me take a minute on this just to get something off my chest. And he knows because he gets worried whenever I start talking about this whole, you know, what's available, what's out there, what, you know, to be honest with you, you know, when I was a kid, you know, you just thought, okay, well, that's what's there and that's what you're going to see. And then over the years, we started learning, well, there's a little bit more, there's a little bit more, there's a little bit more. I'll be honest with you. I've been following this guy my entire life. At this point in time, I really don't know what's out there. People say there was only 4 shows that were filmed for the basis of the movie. That is correct. We all know Richmond, Hampton, Greensboro, and San Antonio. Got that. But I've also seen photos of the film crew, maybe not the film crew, but the directors standing in front of the film cans and stuff like that. And I noticed one that I hadn't seen the other day in quite a while. And I was looking at it, and on these canisters, it says, you know, Charlotte arriving at the arena, Charlotte, you know, the concert. And I'm sitting there and I said to him, I said, I at this point, I don't even know what's out there. Yeah, people throw numbers around. We got 40 hours. That is correct, but I'll be honest with you. I think I find it really hard to believe. This is just my personal opinion, but I think that uh, I find it really hard to believe that they're going to pull out camera material or camera equipment and go in and film a snack bar, popcorn machine, and then load it all back up in the truck. I just really think that some more of these things were filmed and we just don't know about it. So that's my take on it. You know, you guys can think whatever you choose, but I just think there's a little bit more out there than what we're seeing.
Right. And it's a mix of it's cool and frustrating to know that we go to these buildings in Charlotte, and when we went to Charlotte, we didn't know that they had filmed him coming into the building. There's footage of him going on stage. There's all this footage that we haven't seen, but it would make aside from people being able to see it, it would make our videos really cool because we could line certain things up that we don't know what happened. We don't know if they got into the building and they're laughing or if they're having a conversation because there's like nothing from Charlotte out there in the.
Yeah, if you go look at our Charlotte video that we just did, it's our latest video. Go take a look at that, and you'll see there's scenes of him. We stood right there where that was all filmed. There's scenes of the road crew bringing the equipment in, and again, I just find it hard to believe that they set up that stuff just to film a few minutes of them rolling this equipment up and then like, hey, load it back up. It would seem to me, and it's just a thought, but it would seem to me that they might have filmed more so that they would have backup in case that something went wrong, and just instead of just 4 concerts that they were filming whenever they got the chance. So I don't know. I just think that there's more out there, and I don't know. I used to say, hopefully in my lifetime, I'll see it. Now I'm hoping maybe in his that he can see it, but.
All right, so I'm not sure if my microphone is coming through. It says that it is now. You guys might be able to hear me a little better. I got a message saying that my microphone might have been off. But it said that I was told that you guys could hear me. But you guys should be able to hear me a little bit better now. So we'll get back into the last couple little fun clips. So the next one is 15. This is you.
Okay, yeah. So we were watching this, and we kept. This is one building that we never made it into. This is San Antonio. So whenever you see those vertical stripes of bands or whatever you want to call them on the wall there, that's San Antonio. So whenever you're watching the movie, that's where it's at, and that's unfortunately one of those that were gone before we had a chance to get out there.
With that being said, with my microphone not really working, if there was a slide or a feature that we were shown that you couldn't hear what I was saying, if you wanted me to go back, I can go over that again. If you weren't able to hear me, just go ahead in the comment section, say, hey, there was the whatever part that we didn't hear. All right. So this one was kind of a fun one that we found. So right for the scene in Can't Help Falling in Love, right before he comes off the stage, there's this scene of these gentlemen with the helmets standing right off the side of the stage, and we're like, what can we, what city was that? And that was Knoxville, and that was the Knoxville Blue Hawks motor unit. That on the picture on the right is from recently, I guess, but that's from their Twitter, and that's what their helmets look like. And as you can see, they have changed the design, but it has been the Blue Hawks since the 70s. Also, if you slow it down, the footage on the left, you can see what we were talking about, those curved arches on the roof. So that's just another fact that we can point out that is Knoxville. All right. So the next one was a big one. This took me about a day and a half to finally figure this out. And I was really happy to find this one and finally put an end to, where it was, because some people think it's at one city, but it was actually 2 cities. So in the scene where Elvis is leaving the stage, there's this portion here where he is getting ready to run down to the car. So you got him coming off the stage, and then they come around the corner, booking it to the car to leave. So I was watching it, and instantly I picked up on, that something's not adding up. So in the first clip, from the point that he leaves the stage, right as they come around the corner, Elvis is wearing the forget what belt that was called. It might have just been the blue nail suit, or the blue nail belt. I might be wrong, but anyway, the belt that he was wearing, he only wore twice on that tour: Buffalo and I don't remember the other one. It might have been Albuquerque. I don't remember, but anyway, we know that this is Buffalo because he's got the scarf around his neck, and he's got it in the second photo. The photo on the right was not from the movie. It was taken, I guess, by a photographer, maybe a cameraman. I'm not sure. But in the back on the wall, there's a bee, and that was what was.
That's the emblem for the basketball team, short-lived basketball franchise that was in Buffalo at the time.
So we know that this was Buffalo, and so keep an eye on the belt from the left picture. But both of these pictures are the same city. That's Buffalo. But keep an eye. You can see in the photo on the left that he's got the big emblem in the front, or in the center, with the 4 smaller ones in the corner. And in the scene where once he comes around that corner, he comes around the corner here. I was like, this looks, different. So I screenshot it. I took it slow. And in the scene where he's coming down the ramp fast, it's kind of hard to see. But on the belt that he's wearing on the ramp, he's only got the emblem in the center with 2 on each side. And so that was the belt that he wore at, I think it was Indianapolis, Knoxville, and should have written this down, but it was Indianapolis. Should have written it down. I don't remember, but when I was going on here, I looked at the buildings. It wasn't Indianapolis because the back of I actually just looked at a picture before we got on here of the back of the state fairgrounds where he performed. There was no ramp. I don't know if I cut the video, but it shows him getting in the car, and then they drive down the ramp. So that was Buffalo, and then this is Knoxville. So where it cuts to him coming around the corner, you got the Buffalo of him coming off the stage, and then that whole scene was Knoxville. Because you also, if I can back it up a little bit, it went too far. You notice, so once again, Buffalo, when they come around the corner, you can see the gentleman wearing the helmets that we just talked about, the Blue Hawks motorcycle. You see him with the helmets? That's Knoxville. So now when you watch this, it was not all Buffalo. That whole sequence, all of it was not Buffalo. From the stage to the corner, Buffalo, corner to the car, Knoxville. So now you guys can point that out. So this is you.
Okay, this is one that maybe some of you have already picked up on, but if you'll take a look in the back in this shot, you'll see the follow-up car, and you'll notice the film crew, because there's a shot in the movie of a car that was following behind Elvis's limousine. They got the limousine from the back, and this is how they did it, by that guy right there. Hanging out the window. Pretty cool.
See, I'm wondering now if the shot that he's getting of the car they used earlier in the movie, like where they're driving either to somewhere, I don't know, but I'm wondering if they used that shot in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting. All right, so that brings us to the end. Like I said, my microphone kind of cut out on us earlier, so if there was a part that you wanted us to go back and do over again, feel free to just throw in the clip or the description in the comments, and we'll try to find what you're talking about, and we'll go over it again. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. I'm looking at the comments section right now. So,
couple real quick fun facts while he's looking at that. To make the movie, it was $1.6 million to produce this movie. 1 million of that was Elvis's fee. That's what Elvis got paid. The $600,000, the rest of that was production. And what I've come to realize after I read through some of the material, that was covered within 3 days after the movie being released. So we thought that was pretty cool information. So.
all righty. Well, I'm not seeing any questions. If you guys, come up with any questions, I'm looking at them right now. I can go on there and answer them for you guys. And like I was saying, there's a lot of other, small tidbits that we could have added in here, but we didn't want to like drag this out to a 2-3 hour. I mean, we could, right. But we just wanted to bring up, the big things like, a lot of, and me especially, I thought the scene of him coming down the ramp was Buffalo. I thought there was a guy standing at the corner and a guy standing at the ramp, and they just kind of put that all in sequential order, but totally different. 2 different cities, Buffalo and Knoxville, based off of the belt. Also, I don't think in the clip, in the clip of him coming down the ramp, he doesn't even have the red scarf on that he had put around his neck. So, I mean, that's just another point that, those are two different cities. All right. Do you guys have, okay, so question time. So we'll kind of just go into the question between him and I, and the person, Daniela just asked, do you guys have a favorite suit? So that's what I was going to ask. So what was your favorite suit from that tour from April 72? And don't say all of them.
The one that he wore in Albuquerque, I like that fireworks suit. I just thought that with the color and the eyelets there, I just thought that looked really cool.
He wore that 3 times.
Dayton, Albuquerque, and Charlotte.
So I think my all-time favorite suit was the blue nail powder blue, same suit, but that's always been my favorite. The one that he wore in Hampton's always been my favorite jumpsuit. I'm a big fan of the 72 suits, but I'm also a fan of the 2-piece suits with the ornaments that he wore on the shoulders in April, May 75. Those shows, I'm a big fan of those suits as well.
Vanessa's saying something about remember Binghamton, New York was one of our first videos. Yeah, that was what we did is on that in the early days of doing this, we would basically knock out an entire area. We'd just go spend like 5 days on the road, and we would hit every city that we could, kind of like in a circle, to make it manageable. So yeah, if you go back in our videos, and you'll find Binghamton in there.
So Nick was asking, so let me go back one more. Rob was asking, I'll do the same Elvis in concert in 1977. So our first video that we posted on our YouTube channel, Elvis Back on Tour, was Rapid City, which is where a lot of that was shot. We take you inside the Rushmore Civic Center, which might be called something else now. And it was unchanged. It looked like it had just been closed for 40 years and opened the day that we went back in there. I think for Elvis in concert, they only filmed 2 shows. It was Rapid City and Omaha, I think. They were planning on doing Lincoln, but I don't think
Sioux City. I think they got some Sioux City in there as well.
Yeah. They were planning on doing Lincoln, but I think something fell through with that, so they only did like the exterior shots. So we go into it a little bit, like the details in that video. So like I said, if you haven't seen it, it was our first video on our page, Elvis in Rapid City. The flow of the video is like a little different than kind of what we do now because it was our first video.
Speaking of flow, I wanted to bring up one point about this. Since we launched the diner, if you guys just bear with us, we're going to kind of go through some growing pains as we're doing this, because this is a totally different setup. Usually, if you guys that have followed us for a while, when we do like a live, we're usually facing the camera. This is going to be, this is really not the way we're going to do things every week. We're not going to be sitting here looking at monitors. So I apologize for not looking at the camera, but when we start doing it's going to look more like a podcast when we start doing our actual shows coming up with the diner. It's going to be more of a conversation back and forth between him and I, and we're going to try to get some cool headsets so we look like we're really podcast guys here in the $1 million. Elvis was in Studio B, so we're going to call this Studio E. So anytime you come to the diner, we will be in Studio E. So
yeah, nobody else take that name. That's our name. That's our studio.
yeah, that's ours.
All right. So just so we don't get backed up on our comments here, what's next for you guys? Where you plan on going? So we never tell where we're going. We tell you the day of when we're going.
But the next one's going to be big. I'll tell you that.
Oh yes. We have one already done in the works, and that is going to be huge.
Stay tuned on that.
Yes, that is going to be a big one. We'll post more about that as we get closer to it. Weird job thing. Does anyone know if the Las Vegas Hilton still have the reservation books from the Elvis festivals? I doubt it. I'm sure that they gave all of them away. They might have some like on display, but I think I heard something saying that they had like a fallout with Elvis Presley Enterprises. So I don't think they have a lot of original, if they have anything original left. Oh, there's a camera in the back. Yeah, same thing.
Rob is saying, Rob Wanders there saying he thought they filmed 3 shows. They filmed 4.
No, 4. I think Rob was asking about referring to Elvis in concert.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought that was for the Elvis on tour. Okay.
So 3 shows, right, for Rapid City or for the Elvis in concert. Mm-hmm. All right. So 3 for Elvis in concert. And if you're referring to Elvis on tour, that was 4. So
that we know of.
Yeah.
That are
out there.
That are written down on paper, but I've seen pictures of some canisters that would lead me to believe otherwise. So
it'd be interesting. I really don't think that they used or that they filmed Indianapolis. I've never seen anything come out from any footage, or I've seen some photos. I've never seen any professional photos, or maybe like 1 or 2. But I think in that situation, I can't remember the dates, but I think was in Virginia, maybe in like Richmond or somewhere, and then went to Indianapolis and then came back down for Charlotte. So I think that would have been a hassle for the camera crew to follow them from Virginia, Indianapolis to North Carolina. So I think in that situation, they just went from Virginia to North Carolina and were like, we're not going to not do anything for Indianapolis. We'll prepare for when he comes down to North Carolina. Might be wrong on that. I don't know. Might come out and say that they have Indianapolis footage. That would be cool to say, because I've never seen it.
Trust me, they did a lot of filming here. We've seen it. They did a lot of filming here that, yeah, granted, it wasn't the entire show from beginning to end. Like people will argue, they'll say there's only 4. I mean, they get really adamant about it. There was only 4 shows filmed there. We get that. But what I'm trying to say is how do we know? Like I didn't work for MGM in 1972. There are people that, that are so adamant about it. And I say, how do you know? Have you looked through all the logs? Have you looked through all the information and documentation? I know I haven't. But we go into these buildings and I'm thinking, I can guarantee you they didn't roll this stuff in here just to film a popcorn machine. But
all right. So would Graceland allow video for y'all to tour the cars that he used? So there's no, last time I checked, there's no filming inside the exhibits at Graceland. They don't allow that. Yeah, it'd be cool if we could, do a couple cool features that get like special access. I guess that'd be cool, but I don't think that there's filming allowed at Graceland. I'd love to see you go to Hawaii. Yeah, that's the goal, to go to Hawaii. My brother and his wife were in Honolulu on the 50th anniversary of the rehearsal show for Aloha. They weren't there for the actual final show, but they were there on the 12th. So they got pictures outside the Coliseum and sent them to us. So that was really cool. Once was inside the Amarillo venue where I was performed. We've been there too.
Yep.
I think there was like blue or purple panels on the back of the building. If you look at his 74, maybe 76 shows, you'll see them, but definitely 74. We've been there, posted it, and that is on our video. It's Elvis in Texas, 4 cities or remaining 4 cities, something like that. That video contains Fort Worth, Odessa, Amarillo, and Abilene. Those are the 4 cities that we go into depth because, like Odessa and Abilene were so small. There was very little information on that we were like, it's not going to make a full video. Because at the time we were trying to make 10, 15-minute videos. We weren't really focusing on the mini videos. So we put Fort Worth, Abilene, Odessa, and Amarillo all in one video. So those 4 cities, if you want to check that out, it's going to be Elvis in Texas remaining 4 cities or whatever. You can find it on our page.
So as he's reading through there, just a reminder, we're gonna be doing this once a month. It's gonna come across, like I say, more as a podcast. Today was different. We just wanted to do this fun little thing with the movie to kick this thing off, the Elvis Diner. But again, for those of you just joining us, our goal here is just to create a no drama zone where people can just come in and you don't need to have this incredible wealth of knowledge about Elvis or jumpsuits or buildings or the rings that he wore, anything like that. Just come in and let's just we're basically like I say, this is different for today. We're not going to be sitting here looking at a screen when we're doing our thing from here out. We're going to be talking and looking down here and unfortunately we wish it was where we could all just be in this giant room together, but the way we're going to do it is online, where we read the questions and we just basically have a virtual conversation, if you will. And we think it'll be fun. And we just want people to feel relaxed, and especially the younger fans come in and try to learn some stuff as we go from a lot of the older fans. We got a lot of people in here that got a wealth of knowledge. So let's just come and, don't feel, just we want you to feel comfortable, and let's all try to learn together. And another little thing I was talking to Michael about the other night is, if you are a collector, if you collect certain things, maybe like scarves or tickets or something like that, get on here and let's start collecting information and create kind of like this little network where, if you love doing tickets and you're fearful of going on eBay or whatever, maybe there's somebody out there that's got some tickets they want to unload or menus or whatever it is that you love to collect. Let's create a network on there so that we kind of know who we're dealing with here. So,
all right. So somebody said I visited the Odessa venue. Yeah, like we said, we did too. Nothing against the building, but Odessa is not a very. You wouldn't want to be around there at nighttime in certain parts because it's. I guess it's changed a little bit since Elvis performed there, but yeah, definitely don't want to drive around Odessa at night. So when is the Diner video? So basically, this is the first episode of the Diner. We just wanted to have like a what's a word like a drawing I don't know what the word.
You're blanking out today.
I am. We just wanted to have you guys come on here, and we wanted to have something prepared for you to show you, make it interesting. So in the future, like we said, it's going to be about once a month. It's going to be more of a discussion. We're going to be talking between us. We'll pick a topic. We'll discuss it. You guys can come on, comment. It'll just be one big discussion to where all Elvis fans, when we're not down in Memphis in January and August, we can all keep in contact and, just keep talking Elvis.
Again, it's more, we came up with the idea, like somebody was asking me, where's the Diner located? It's not. It's a virtual place where we just come on here. We called it the Diner to kind of give you that feel, to where you can just come in and relax and we could just talk about Elvis with like-minded people.
Right. Okay, so I had one more question. So we had one more on here. Did you ever see Elvis in person?
No, I've explained this a couple times over the years, or that we've been doing this. People ask me this, and the story that I have is kind of an unfortunate one. We were, my mom and dad, we were in Richmond, and a lot of people that have followed us have heard this many times, but we were driving by the Richmond Coliseum because we're from Virginia. We were driving by the Richmond Coliseum. We saw the sign, Elvis in concert, tonight, 8:30. And, my mom, we were kind of so naive. My mom was like, well, we can come back and get tickets. And those tickets were long gone by the time, when we're reading that sign, those tickets were long gone. And little did we know that they were inside filming Elvis on tour. And that's as close as I came to it. And, there's been some talk on here about, that makes you a different type of fan if you saw Elvis. If you saw Elvis, that's incredible. That's wonderful. We love the people that can come on here and give us that eyewitness account. But keep in mind that's a very small portion of Elvis fans, because he only did but so many concerts, and only but so many people got to see him, and those people are very fortunate. But don't especially if you're younger, don't feel bad if you didn't go to the show, because I think there's so many of you guys out there, so many of us out there, that I never saw him, but that doesn't mean you can't be a super fan.
All right, so I got a question. What is a show that you'd like to see in full? All the footage that they had. What is a show from that tour that you'd like to see in full?
Albuquerque.
I don't know. I'd like to see. I have two. I'd like to see Richmond, Hampton afternoon show where he wore the red suit. That'd be cool. And I don't know. It'd be cool to see, if there was anything from Albuquerque or Indianapolis. It'd be cool to see if they had any footage. I doubt it, but Detroit would also be kind of cool, because that there was a camera crew there doing stuff. So
filming the popcorn machine.
Right. So they might have filmed some of the concert. Well, there's footage of him backstage getting ready to go on stage. That's out there, but it'd be obviously the answer that everyone would probably give is everything. They'd like to see everything. Will we ever? We won't know until it comes out, if it does.
One of the features that we're going to have on this podcast deal is, and again, I can't stress enough, I'm so sorry we're used to looking right into that camera when we do our lives, and this is kind of really different for us. So just go through us with these growing pains. This is the inaugural episode of the Diner, and I'm really struggling with I'm trying to look here, trying to get the questions as they come up, trying to look at the camera. And again, we're not going to have this next time. It's just going to be us having a conversation. So if you'll just bear with us, and please forgive us for looking like we don't know what we're doing, but we do. We're just trying to figure it all out as we go. So one of the features that we're going to have coming up is each guy is going to make up 3 surprise questions. I don't know if Michael did 3 for me today, but I did 3 for him. And it's going to be like the lightning round, where I just shoot the answer, and he can't sit there for 10 minutes and think about it. He's got to give me the answer back. So I'm going to fire a round off on him right now.
Shoot the question.
I got 3 questions here. I hope he's got his answers.
I'm assuming, is this relating to Elvis on tour?
No, this is relating to
awesome.
Whatever. Give me your 3 favorite touring years in order.
72, 71, 72, 75, 71. I like 72 because, there was so much footage. There was so much put into that there's a lot to know about that. 75 I like because he the 2-piece suits, I really like those, and the set list for those shows was really good. He did a lot of good songs. And then I would also like to change my answer, not 71, but to 74. My second favorite tour that he ever did was the June-July 74 tour. I love that. He was all over the country. He looked really good, sounded great.
Disqualified. Can't change your answer. Well, here's the next question.
Whatever.
Next question. Concert or a jam session?
You have to it has to be specific.
No, concert, or you got a choice. You can either go in this door and go to a concert, a full concert, or you go in here and it's just Elvis and the boys jamming. Which one?
Jam session.
There you go. All right.
But it'd have to be a certain jam session. I'd probably like what I mean by that is I'd probably do like Nashville over, like that's the way it is, if that's an option.
All right. Last question. You're in a room with Elvis. You can ask him one question. He's sitting right there. You got one question to ask him. What is it?
Um, Gonna get serious here with the question, but it doing what we do, I would probably ask him, would it, would he be satisfied with what we're doing and how we're doing it? We're trying to, keep the legacy and memory of Elvis alive. Not only Elvis, but everyone that was involved. The band members, because they had a story in it too. But it would be, is he satisfied and is he happy with how we're keeping his legacy alive and keeping the community together? We're not the only ones doing that. There's a lot of other people that are keeping Elvis community alive and strong and keeping his name out there for future generations. So I'd probably ask him that.
Yeah, one thing we always like to do in these is we like to give shout outs to people that are on here. We got a lot of Michael knows a lot of the handles. I don't remember a lot of the handles, but I know them when I see them. But there's so many young people coming up now that are on here that just are really impressive with where they find out their information and the pictures they post and how they have a knowledge. And so, man, anybody that's followed us for any length of time knows that that's one thing that we're big into. A couple things. One is the youth. Just watching these younger guys come out like Michael and people that are in his age group, it is so cool to see that. I mean, these guys are they're setting it on fire, and I think Elvis would be really proud of this. And so the other thing is, we've talked about this in the past a lot too, is for the fans that are overseas and the foreign countries that will never get the opportunity to come and see this stuff. We're trying to bring it to you. So you guys are a large reason. We got guys like Patty and some others that come on there that that have followed us for a long, long time. And you guys are a huge reason as to why we do this, because I can't, we talk about it when we're out on the road, either in the plane or in the car, in the hotel or whatever. We've had this conversation, imagine being fans like we are and never being able to see these places. And so that's a huge reason why we do what we do.
Yeah. Okay. Quick question for you. If you could have any microphone that he used, whether it be in the studio or in concert, what microphone would you like to have?
Aloha. Oh, it was on satellite, man.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing, I want to throw this in there real quick. We are going to show a lighter side of us. Friend of mine was saying at work the other day, said, you guys do that document that when you document the buildings, there's a level of seriousness, and there is, because we're trying to bring you facts and everything. But this is going to be more of a laid back, just having fun, and we're going to be in here goofing off and kind of messing around with each other with the episodes that are coming up. So,
all right. So if you guys don't have any other questions, hopefully you guys enjoyed the presentation. Like it says on the banner at the bottom, if there was something that you didn't know before that you learned from this video, feel free to share it. But if you do, we'd appreciate it if you could tag us and tell folks that you learned it here, and to let them know that they can watch the live stream in its entirety after we're done. That would be really appreciated.
Hey, one thing before we go, there's one. I saw one question come up here. I just want to set the record straight on something for you guys that don't know us that well and you're just getting to know us. The question came up, what's our opinion of Cup Guy? And Michael and I have an agreement that and that we're just this type of people. We're not gonna put anybody down. We truly believe that there's room for everyone. Everyone has a right to go out there and make a video. Everyone can do it on whatever topic, whatever subject. We do not. When I was a kid, a lot of the stuff that I learned, believe it or not, was from Elvis. And I remember in his Madison Square Garden
Press conference.
press conference. Um, he said some really cool things in there. And when he was asked about his opinion on this or that, he would always say, I just would soon to keep my views to myself. And this is the way we're going to be on this. We're not going to get on here and we're not going to trash anybody on here. We're not going to put anybody down. We're positive people. We do this for one reason, and that's to, well, we do it for several reasons, but our goal is to come on here and just create an environment where people can feel welcomed and come on here and talk about Elvis. We're going to learn together and we're going to figure some things out together. And again, I'll say this one more time. We're not know-it-alls. You're not going to come on here and see perfect, with all the stats. And I don't know the thread counts on the jumpsuits
Right.
and stuff like that. But, we just want it to be a positive thing. There's enough negativity out there in the world today, and we're not going to add to that. So, we're not going to, if there are people that are going to come on here and look for, us to put somebody down, it's not going to happen on this. We're not going to bite into that. So come on here and feel welcomed and have some fun with us.
Yeah. All right. So last round for questions. Hopefully you enjoyed the presentation that we did. Kind of want to dedicate it to Elvis and all the people involved that especially have passed on. Dick Grove, Joe Esposito, Red, Sonny Webb involved in that documentary. That all had a certain job to make that a good documentary and a good tour. And so we thank all of them for what they did. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the presentation. It'll be posted in its entirety after we end it on our YouTube page. It'll be under some people have had difficulty doing this, but when we finish a live stream, it's posted under the live tab. So go to our page, content or videos, and then go to live tabs. It's not going to show up under videos. In case you have had trouble with that before. That's not our doing. That's how YouTube does that. It'll be under the lives tab.
Is there any way you can go on there and kind of show them, like, if they're looking there? What we're trying to say is, we're finding a lot of people are saying, we didn't even know we thought you were just on Instagram. We thought that you only did Instagram stuff. And no, we have so many videos of these buildings that we've been in, and we'd love to share them with others. And while it's important for us to kind of gauge how we're by the number of followers that we have, we don't buy accounts so that our numbers go up to make us look good. We may have 6.34 subscribers, but those were earned subscribers. And I'd rather have that and have high quality people that are following us than to just add a bunch of numbers there that don't make any sense.
All right, so go ahead and pop this screen up here in case you guys just want to see how this is posted when we're done. So let me just make sure it's popping up on the screen. Oh, wait, hang on. There we go. All right, so this is our YouTube page. And so when you go to our page, just go to video or go to live. And these are the live streams that we have done. And you guys can go ahead and watch it in its entirety. It'll be right here, Elvis Diner episode 1. It'll be however long we've been on here, almost an hour and a half. And then you got all of our videos from all the other places that we've been to. There's a lot of cities that people don't know that we've been to. So when we're done with this, go ahead and scroll through our videos and see if there's a city that you didn't know that we've been to and posted about it. A lot of people have told us that. It's like, hey, I didn't know that you were in Phoenix, Arizona, and toured that building. And a lot of these are, some of these are mini videos, which means they're going to be like 3-4 minutes because there were cities that we've been to many years ago when we weren't doing this, but we still took pictures and videos. And it's a way that we can still get that content out, but it's not going to be a 15-20 minute video because there's not that much material on it. And some of them we have been to while we're doing this, and still is not a lot of information to make a full video. So just go on, check out all of our videos, and subscribe if you haven't already. We would really appreciate it.
And there's that Bell too, that he's the guy that is in control of all this. Some of this stuff. He's so technologically minded that it's great, because I wouldn't know the first thing. But yeah, there's the bell in there that'll notify you when we put up a video. And please tell your family and friends and stuff like that, and your fellow Elvis fans that don't know about us. Please let them know that we're out here doing what we're doing.
Yeah, so right next to the subscribe button, you'll see a little bell when you click that. If you have notifications set on for your phone or your email for your YouTube channel, it'll notify you when we post a video or go live doing a live stream. And that way you can be one of the first people to see it. All right, so other than that, we'll do maybe another minute for some questions, and then we will head out and we will start working on next month's diner and the next trip. So we got a lot of good stuff coming out. So keep an eye on our page. Follow us on Instagram. We're on Facebook too, and our YouTube, obviously. And that what he was saying earlier is share with other people that we're doing this. We posted a trailer a couple weeks ago that we made public on our Facebook and our YouTube and all that. And that was a way of, especially if you're on Facebook, if you're on a like an administrator for a page or something, you can share that trailer on that Facebook. We would really appreciate it, because we want people to know, what we're doing, especially for people overseas that might be on, international Elvis fan club pages. That way they can follow us on YouTube. But a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook don't know that we have a YouTube channel. And that's where a lot of we're more active on Instagram, but YouTube is where like the beef of our trips and information goes.
Yeah, Paul just said he just switched on here from the UK, so he missed most of the chat. Paul, it'll be on. Michael loaded up on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and look at the whole thing. And Timothy up there said, is there a schedule of live shows upcoming?
We don't have a schedule, but we'll post. Usually how we do it is we'll post, 2-3 days before we go live, the day before, and then sometimes the day of. So you'll know. We'll post on our Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. YouTube will show as the upcoming live, and Facebook and Instagram will just do it as posts and stories, so you can see there.
And contact us, and communicate with us and let us know. Like I say, if you do have things that you collect, we know people that do the collecting and stuff as well. So we can, because we know quite a few people in the Elvis world. So, if you collect a certain thing and we know of a person that has it, we can hook you up with them. And also, contact us and give us ideas for what you would like us to do as a topic in the show. But the next show that you're going to see is going to be very different, more like a podcast style thing where we're kind of talking back and forth and then answering your questions. So, these monitors aren't going to be here. He'll have one, but it's not going to be an issue next time.
All right. So just some final points. You guys got some homework to do. Subscribe. Turn on that bell. We'd really appreciate it. Share it with others. And if you guys want, and this is another big thing that people bring up, if you guys want to contact us on our Instagram page, there's a link. Click that. It'll take you to all of our socials. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you want to message us privately, you can email us at elvisbackontour, all one word, @gmail.com. And that way, if you guys have any questions or points, we can respond there. Sometimes if you message us on Instagram, it might put you in like the general or the requested tab, and we might not see it right away, especially with Facebook. So if you email us, elvisbackontour@gmail.com, we will definitely be able to see that. Also, you can comment on our YouTube videos, and we'll get back to you on there. So for the people that just joining, we're kind of done now, but we're going to post it on our page. Go on the lives tab on our YouTube channel, Elvis Back on Tour, and it's about almost an hour and a half. Really good information. It seemed like a lot of people enjoyed it. We share a lot of information that you might not have known. some of which, if you didn't know and you feel like sharing, just tag us. Let people know that you learned it from here. We'd really appreciate it. So with that said, if you guys,
We had fun, guys, as we always do. We could go on for 5 hours doing this. We love it. So that's what you guys have to look forward to next time. It's not going to be a presentation next time. It's just going to be us talking to you guys. We look forward to it.
all right, so check it out, YouTube, our page, our channel, Elvis Back on Tour. Go to the Lives tab. It'll be there. Bye.